What is going on, fight fans? So in this video, I'm gonna go ahead and debunk another myth about Undisputed. Right now, you guys can say whatever you want. Oh, you're not trying to burn bridges, or there is no incentive for me to not keep it real. Like, I think you guys think that everything is like bought off or paid off or like corporate greed and you're controlled behind. No, none of that happens. As a matter of fact, when I was even at Undisputed, one thing that they loved was just somebody being authentic in terms of even the content creators. If they criticized the game, if they didn't criticize the game, if they were positive on the game, if they were not positive on the game, they simply cared about you just being truthful or whatever, right? Like, those are the things that they valued a lot at Steel City Interactive. They didn't value like, ooh, say good things about our game only. Like, they didn't value that stuff. But you guys have this whole thing of like, oh, the corporation and whatever. And I get that to a certain extent. Yeah, corporations can be, evil or whatever. Like, I get that, right? But that was never the impression that I got. So if I don't work for Undisputed anymore, and now I work at a different company, a different game company, I don't feel any fear of like, oh, I can't say this. I gotta make sure that they like me. Like, I was already there. Like, there is not a thing that I fear from Steel City Interactive. This is truly just how I feel about the game. And I do believe that a lot of people fall for this trap. The trap of, if the person is negative, then they must be telling the truth, because what can they gain from being negative? The company won't like them. You know what they gain from being negative? Echo chambering other negative people on the game to grow their social media platforms. So don't think that because someone is negative, that means that they're real. And if someone is positive, that means that they're fake, because the only path to financial freedom is a company lifting you up, taking you with them, and riding into the sunset. No, you could also grow your social proof. You could also build a community of people who don't. You could dog whistle, or not even dog whistle, like full blown blowing the whistle to people that don't like the game and just want to come together and talk with other people and be part of a community of people that don't like the game. So that is also a motivation where the person can be nefarious with that motivation and use that, even though they probably don't believe half the things that they're saying, but they know that the community is saying that, so they feed it back to you. I am probably on an island when it comes to talking about Undisputed. There is no benefit for me to gain out of being real about the game. I'm not even going to say positive, real about the game, because I've already worked for them. So if you think I'm trying to get a job with them, I already had that. And I didn't get fired. Everybody, oh, you got fired. No, I left for a different opportunity because I'm advancing my space or my place in gaming, in the gaming industry, right? So I saw an opportunity and I went with that opportunity. I gave my 2-week notice, and with all respect, I left Steel City Interactive, but I love those guys over there because I see how hard they work. I was part of that crew. They work hard. They're not just chilling and like, oh, why didn't we press the no desync button? We should have done that like 3 years ago. No, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, right? So I'm not, there's no, if I wanted to go back to Undisputed, I probably could just be like, hey, like, because I already built a big rapport there. There were a lot of things that were done with me there, part of the team that was very successful. I built a good rapport there. if I wanted to go back, I probably could without doing any of this stuff, right? But I'm not going back to Undisputed or Steel City Interactive. There are things that I'm doing that moving forward in my career, doing different things in my career, having different responsibilities in my career. So it ain't about that, right? And if I wanted to be negative, like none of that stuff matters. I only care about telling you guys the truth. And there isn't really a community. There's nobody else really just being like I feel like there are people, right, that want to be in the middle a little bit, but they are afraid of being honest on the positive end. So they'll cut their legs off a little bit on positivity just to not entice a negative crowd. But guess what happens here at Boxing Fanatico? Never have I ever given a crap about that stuff. I'm always going to say it like it is. My channel is whatever, right? I have another fitness channel. I have this channel, but really my focus is on game development, right? So I don't care. I truly don't care. I just be annoyed and I make these videos from the annoyance of like, you guys really think y'all got it figured out when y'all don't, right? So, okay, here we go. Now, let's talk about, sorry about that rant. What was that, 6 minutes? Oh my gosh. Anybody who's still here, man, I appreciate it. All right, but anyways, here is my honest truth, not bought for or paid for by anyone. Undisputed does not communicate to me to do these videos in any way, shape, or form. This is truly just how I feel, right? So here is a game that you're probably like, what are you showing me, right? This game is called Footsies, and it was pretty popular back like 5 years ago. And this game was pretty bare bones. It was very bare bones. As a matter of fact, let me show you all of the actions that you can do in Footsies. You can walk forward. You can walk backwards. You can block while walking backwards. You can dash. You can back dash. You can kick attack. You can knee attack. You can do a back kick by pressing right after or a kick and knee attack and a basic kick. Back kick. Okay. You can do an uppercut by going back, then forward, and uppercut. And you can parry by pressing forward perfectly in time with the attack. And then you can do a secret attack. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that it? That's all you can do in Footsies? Oh man, Skill Gap must be trash. Skill Gap was not trash. Skill Gap actually brought this all the way to Evo, Japan. Why? Because people really, liked the game because it was a very, very, it brought the ethos of what they enjoy in fighting games. Now, if you don't know what Evo is, there's a Japan Evo, there's a Las Vegas Evo, which is the OG Evo. And now they're doing an Evo France. That's going to be a new one. But with Evo Japan, there are a lot of players in Japan that just absolutely gravitated towards this game because of how it stripped everything. You can't jump, you can't neutral skip, which means you're not playing that Footsies game. You're doing like a special move that kind of jumps you right to the player, maybe gives you a plus on block situation. So it's almost an easy move. And I'm not going to break all of that down, right? I play Street Fighter. Like, that's one of my favorite games. I play that consistently. And I do local tournaments and all that stuff, but that's besides the point. My point is that this game was so bare bones and has such a non-skill gap because it didn't have much for you to do that an entire tournament was birthed off of the game Footsies. And people would do clever things. And people will be smart when they play Footsies. I don't even know what happens here. But I guarantee you people are going to do smart things. They're going to go back and forth. They're going to try to dash forward, dash backwards and stuff. And they're going to try to time things just like that to get the KO, right? And once you land, it's over. Once you land, it's wraps, right? And you only got 3 blocks that you could do. So you really have to go in and out and pay attention to how your opponent is reacting and try to make reads and try to time your opponent. And the better players were always the better players that were always at the top. These players were always at the top, right? So I say that to say this part here. When it comes to Undisputed, you normally see these same players always winning. For example, we got the creator crown or the creator fights that was put together with all the content creators, not including me. I didn't get hit up, but it's all good. It's fine. I still like to watch this from afar. Nobody hit Boxing Fanatic, but I still like to see it from afar. It's all good, right? But when I looked at this list, my immediate reaction was, yep, makes sense, right? I'm looking at this and I see Box Eye Views in the top. I see Fight Night's Finest in the top. I see iGame You Watch in the top. I see Prioxis with 1 win, 1 loss. I don't know who's the second person or the person that Prioxis fought that gave him his loss. But when I look at this makes sense to me, right? Why does it make sense? Because people have seen Box Eye View and he's good at the game, right? Now, I think I fought Box Eye View once and he beat me, but he was good. The fight was good. Granted, it was like 3 flash knockdowns that happened on me. And every round that wasn't a knockdown in that round, I was winning the round. So, Box Eyes, I'm looking at you. You won, but you won during the time where flash knockdowns was random. And there was a lot of random stuff happening there. However, I'll still say he was a good player. And now, with everything being moved closer and closer to like there isn't random knockdowns that can happen, right? It gets even more. It becomes even more of a skill gap because you're not going to get a lottery ticket knockdown or a lottery ticket knockout. But people like Box Eye's Views, if you pay attention to Box Eye View and you see how when he fights other content creators, you'll see him winning consistently. And what happens when they're put into some sort of a tournament kind of system? Box Eye View is 2-0. Fight Night's Finest. One of, in my opinion, the best Fight Night players that I had ever played. He was not doing spam or cheap stuff or whatever. And when I played him, he picked, I forget who he picked. I want to say, man, I don't remember who he picked, but he didn't pick like a OP player or anything in Fight Night Champion. And he beat me in Fight Night Champion. Now, in Fight Night Champion, back in the days when it first launched, I was in this tournament system that was connected with EA Sports. It was actually integrated into the game, Fight Night Champion. So in Fight Night Champion, you could actually go to the tournament and it was connected to Virgin Gaming, which was a tournament website where you could actually play for money. And then they held the tournament with Fight Night Champion. In that structure, there was a rating of all players, and you get rated from 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, right? And there was only one level 10 rated player in the entire Virgin Gaming tournament system. Now, this is before Malky Pablo started grabbing the game for Fight Night the Champion. Now, this is so that you know how much I know about the competitive landscape of what it was, even with previous boxing games. And all the Fight Nights before that Fight Night, they had like tournaments that would happen in GameStop. You would do the tournament in GameStop, and then you would get flown out to Vegas for the finals, right? But the only level 10 in the whole game, in the whole tournament structure, was yours truly, me. I was the only level 10 player in that entire tournament or in the entire Virgin Gaming landscape. I had to play, and you guys won't even know this. This is why, I got the UNC status, because y'all not going to really know these people. But if you know, you know. Back in the days, there was a player called Rough Tactics that was really good, and another player called Terminal, which was also really good. Terminal was 500-0. Rough Tactics had losses or whatever. I had like 2 or 3 losses or whatever it was. But Virgin Gaming needed to find out who to give the rank 10 to, the level 10 to. I had to face Terminal, who was 500-0, and I beat Terminal. And I still remember he complained from now to he's probably still complaining to this day. And we had to show evidence of everything. Luckily, I recorded it and all that stuff. We sent it in, and Virgin Gaming confirmed that yes, he won that tournament. I had to play rough tactics, and this was actually when catch and shoot was still in the game, which means you could block. It would create a counter window if you blocked perfectly in time, which I thought was kind of cheap back in the days, but it is what it is, and you would counter, right? So me and Rough Tactics played, and I beat Rough Tactics. So I had beaten Terminal, I had beaten Rough Tactics. We were the only 3 ranked 9, and Virgin Gaming did not really give out 10s unless they felt like you were the best player in the world. They then awarded me the 10 when I beat Rough Tactics, right? And I think I made it to the semifinals in the tournament. Unfortunately, I didn't win, right? But I came close. I say all that to say this. I'm a super competitive person just by the nature of things, right? When I went to the creator events, I was getting my butt kicked in the beginning. I really grinded and paid attention to the different minutia of the game, even when the game was super broken back then during the creator event, and I won the creator event tournament, right? When the game went live, right, I was the #1 player in the world, right? I put, locked in, best player in the world right now after completing my placement matches and only gold in the world. Put some respect on my name, right? This doesn't happen if there isn't a skill gap. And why I want to say that, I want you guys to understand. One thing is that the game is broken, or the game isn't where it's supposed to be, or the game has problems. That's all true. But I just showed you this game. I just showed you this game that is so much more limiting than Undisputed. In Undisputed, you can go back and forward. You can block. You can do a powerful attack. You can, but you could also hit low high. You could also throw multiple combinations. You could also do head movement. You could also do diagonal dodging. You could also push your opponent. You could also do a fast punch like a jab, or a slower punch that's more powerful, like a uppercut. You have variations. The thing is, you just have to implement your timing, your skill, and your understanding of your opponent. The best players in the world, if you notice, they're almost always the same people. There are people that played well in Fight Night Champion that are like, and I'm talking about in Fight Night and Fight Night Round 3, there are people that I know, for example, Norton Block Solo is a person that I know that was really good in Round 3. He was one of the top 10s in Round 3. He was really good in Fight Night Champion, and he's like top 3 in the world on Xbox, I believe, maybe even #1 on Undisputed. How is that possible if all those games are different? Because it's not just what you guys want, which is the mechanics to be served to you on a silver platter so that you can be good at the game. There are so many things you can do in the game that the best players are going to rise to the top, because what separates an okay player and the best player is the fact that the best player is smart at understanding how to understand his opponent. When his opponent wants to throw, when they don't like to throw, when they don't like to engage, when they like to engage. And then the best players in the world can sniff that out and actually not throw when that opponent wants you to throw when they don't want you to throw, make it uncomfortable when they want to be comfortable, make it comfortable when they want it to be uncomfortable, and be consistent at that. Now with the knockdowns, that's why I was one of the people that was like riding the don't put the flash knockdowns in the game train. I was riding that train because I'm a super competitive person, and I know that the flash knockdowns is a lottery system. It's like if you take Smash Brothers and you inject the items that fall down, and you could get a super and all that stuff. Really, you're just injecting a random element to the game. That's why in competitive Smash Brothers, they don't have any items. It's just raw. They got to fight each other, and that's it. To me, a flash knockout, even if it's true to life, which it is still a random element. It is still a random element that you're interjecting into a competitive space, especially a competitive space like gaming. So, is there a skill gap in Undisputed? Absolutely. There's no way. What are the chances that I would be number one? Keep in mind, guys, it's not like I could rack up wins and then the game launches and all my wins count but no, once the game launched, everybody started at 0. I started at the same time as you guys. But when I did my placement matches, they probably put a bunch of people in front of me and I blasted through them so badly and so like decisively that I was the first ever gold in Undisputed ever. Now, I can't really be number one now because my focus is not on just playing. So I'm not going to grind my way up to number one. Plus, there are a lot of things that are broken or whatever. But when it comes to understanding that the game definitely has a skill gap, I know that it has a skill gap. I'm also not going to put nobody on blast, but there was more than one developer in the top 10. There was more than one developer in the top 20. I'm not going to put nobody on blast, though. I'm going to leave it like after day one, I ended at number 1 in the world, but there were people that were number 6. There were people that were number 8. There were people that were from the development team. From the development team. How is that possible if there isn't a skill gap there? If you just left everything up to random chance, the chances that out of hundreds and thousands, remember, 1 million copies sold happened in that first week. What are the chances out of all those hundreds of thousands of players that 3-4 developers were going to find themselves in the top 20 and one developer, myself, was going to find themselves as number 1 in the world? And it was pretty correct. As in, I was number 1, and the next developer after me was kind of the second best in the world. And the third one, or the second best in the team, and the third one was kind of the third best in the team. You could probably flip-flop number 2 and number 3 a little bit, but in my opinion, number 2 had a little bit of an edge over number 3, although number 3 was really, really strong. And that was the order. I was first. That second person was like 6th or 5th, and that third person was like 10th or 11th or something like that. This doesn't happen by random chance because there is a skill gap. But y'all want to y'all think that the mechanics have to drive everything. I just showed you Footsies. The mechanics don't have to drive everything. It's the ability to outsmart your opponent. And then when you get to the highest level, is the choices that you're making to continue to outsmart your opponent. It's the choices every moment that you're making. Is the game broken? Are there things that need to be fixed? Absolutely. Is the game fun? To me, yes. Is there a skill gap? Absolutely. Absolutely, there's a skill gap. The best players in the old Fight Night games are if they continue to play, if they play this and they grind this, they become one of the best players in this game. How is that possible? It's because no matter how much I want to pretend that these games don't have a skill gap, they absolutely do. Because if you're seeing the same people float to the top, if you're seeing the order of operations in terms of, this guy, number 1, played the game a lot before I played it, So if it's a random thing and anybody could just pick it up and play and they're gonna win, then they're gonna make it to the top, or anybody can make it to the top, and it's a random draw. You mean to tell me I had a 1 out of 500,000 chance or whatever it was for people, and I was on PlayStation, which was the most players were on PlayStation. The most players are on PlayStation. Stop thinking that this type of gameplay, the choices that you make, my choice to block there, my choice to throw 2 punches instead of 1, my choice to move to the left, right? You're not going to always make the right choices. You're not always going to make the right choices, but you're going to make the right choices more than the average person based off of reads, based off of understanding the game, based off of the timing, based off of the muscle memory. You are going to consistently make the right choices over and over and over again, just like that. My choice to open up in that moment right there, like right there is a perfect example of what I'm talking about, right? I'm timing everything. Look at how I'm loading up. He's not doing anything yet. But I've been playing him already for a round and a half, and I already have a timing down on when he likes to attack. What moments trigger him wanting to attack. So I throw a big right hand that's hard to land because it takes some time in comparison to like a jab or a straight, but I end up landing this punch. How do I end up landing this punch? Because I timed it. He then opens up right as the punch makes contact. This is a choice that I'm making. So when I tell y'all psychological tactics, I'm saying this is coming from a person I've been number 1 in the world in a bunch of stuff. I've been flown out to compete. First ever motion gaming world tournament. I represented the United States in Connect Sports Rivals. Look it up. Look it up. Xbox, sponsored by Xbox, flown out by Xbox to compete in that game. I'm not BSing you guys. It's a psychological thing. It's a mental thing. It's not the mechanics that help me hit him with the right hook there. It's my timing, my understanding, my reads. So when y'all sit here and say, oh, nah, there's no skill gap. There's no skill gap. It's just like because the game is so broken, there's no skill gap. That's cap. When games like this exist, the skill gap is in the mind, in your ability to differentiate yourself from the other player. That's where the skill gap is. I guarantee you, if I played this game consistently and I never stopped playing it, I would have still held the number 1 spot. I just can't. It's not that I stopped playing. I just can't play it on the level of consistency that a lot of these players that are top 10, top 20, top 30, top 40, top 50 can play it on. I can't do that. I don't have the bandwidth to do that. I can play a game here and there and I'm still going to be nice at it, to be honest, because I've got so much rooted in my muscle memory. Timing and all this, I got so much in there. I'm going to be nice whenever I pick it up and play, no matter what. But I'm not going to be able to stay consistent. There's probably people now that have way more fights than I have ever had. Because there's people with 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 fights trying to pretend and lie to you that they hate the game. Meanwhile, they've done put almost 100,000 hours in this game. Make it make sense. That's another video I'm going to make. Like, don't trust nobody who's telling you that they don't like the game and the game is trash and is broken and is this and is that, but they got over 1,000 wins. If they got over 1,000 matches, don't listen to that person. That person is capping and just trying to build a social media following behind your what's that called? Your lack of knowledge. Just knowing that there's a fervor of people that don't like the game, and he's just feeding you food. But if that person really don't like the game, you ain't supposed to have no 1,000 hours in the game or 1,000 matches. You're not supposed to. You should have been bored a long time ago. And this ain't like the UFC community, because you can still play another boxing game and be online and compete. Because Fight Night Champions on all Xbox, all of them. And you can still play that and compete. Because the servers are still up. So you have an alternative to this game. Yet you got 1,000 matches. I call cap. You people that do that, they just trying to build a following. Don't fall for it. Look at that. Timing, everything is timing. Understanding, look, knowing when to start throwing combinations and when to stop. Look. Look, 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 look. That's all decision making. That's not mechanics. That's not like the game didn't do nothing for me. I get what the game gives me, and I make the correct decisions. And I make the correct decisions more often than not against my opponents. All right. I'm going to end the rant right there. That's it. Where are we? 30 minutes. Oh, my God. My bad, guys. Hopefully, y'all stuck to the end of this video, but I'm going to go ahead and end it right there. I might not even edit this video, man, because, like, I'm just going to put this up like it is, like, there, because whatever. I mean, I'm going to do small editing. That's it. All right. Until the next one, guys, I don't want to make this too long, but let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know. Peace out.